I don't know why that is, but
it looks clear to me, but
it pops in and out quite a bit. But
must be in Atlanta.
At first I thought it might have been me, but I'm seeing everybody else pretty good. So it's definitely a you problem.
We got a lot of people on tonight. You're not going to hear from me that much, so it'll be okay.
Okay, cool.
Okay.
That's fine.
Aww.
All right, so right now we're live. So we're not starting the show, but I just want to let everybody know, if you happen to be tuning in, whether you're watching us live right now or you're just watching the recording after the fact, we call this Stormfront Freaks Raw because you're getting everything. We don't edit any of this out tonight. This is just the recording, so you're going to catch all the crap in between the breaks and pre-show and post-show and all that good stuff. But if you are joining us, thanks. If you're joining us live, there is a YouTube chat, so feel free to ask any questions on chat or comment on chat. If there's some any good questions there for our guest, Jessica, tonight, certainly we'll try and share those with her as well, or do it in between breaks, since if you're with us live, you'll catch us in breaks as well. So
I got a question.
Okay.
How many times do you think Phil's going to say crap tonight?
Crap?
Is that a usual thing?
I don't know. No, it's not. So I don't know why he's saying that, to be honest with you. What was the word? What was the word that was used a couple episodes ago? Some old person's wasn't oofda, but it was.
Oh yeah.
It was something just stupid. Morgan, how are you?
Great, sweaty.
Hey, Morgan.
Oh, nice. Thank you.
TMI, Morgan. TMI.
Well, roommates didn't have the AC going, so I just kind of had to do it myself.
Are you like up in the attic?
Yeah.
Because you have like the angle.
So they don't
Like
understand.
you got
I do.
Walls,
I do have the angled walls. Yeah.
Nice and warm.
See
up
my
there.
wonderful posters.
All right. So Jessica, we've got Kim Cunningham with us, and Morgan's our intern. She's graduating from Ohio State. And tell Jessica where you're going to school.
I'll be heading your way, and I will be going to grad school at Fort Collins in Colorado State.
Gosh! Oh,
Yeah.
I love Fort Collins.
So I'm pretty excited. I've actually never been to Colorado, but I've only heard good things.
Blasphemy.
Well, I have a lot of good things to say about it. Yeah, you're gonna love it.
That's what everybody says.
Good. And then we've got two Marks. So we separate them by one is Maz.
Okay.
That's me.
So it's Mark Massaro. We just call him Maz. So he's a former TV Met. And then Mark Johnson, we call him MJ.
That'd be
me. He's our technical guy. And
hello.
Yep.
Hi.
So cool. All right. So here's what we'll do. We'll get started. We'll do the normal, do the intro. We'll briefly mention what's going to be on the show. Then we'll do our What Are You Drinking? Happy hour. Introduce everybody. And I will, Jessica, give you a shot to since I know you're bringing out the mule, all right?
Yep, I got the mule.
Okay, so I'll throw you in there as well, but that won't be your formal introduction, okay? We'll let you share. And then I'll turn it over to Kim, and she'll do the introduction and start with the questions. Somewhere around 20 after, I'll break away. We'll do a quick break.
It's a lot of calculus questions.
It is. It's hard.
I'm not ready for that.
Differential equations.
Right.
It's been too long for me.
Okay, good. Is everybody? Oh, go ahead.
Hey, quick one. Jessica, do you know a Claire Petty?
I do.
Yes, she says hi. Just telling you.
I was at her wedding last October.
That'd be really awkward if she said Claire Petty.
I know.
No, she's one of my
While she's watching.
I hate her.
Thanks for watching, Claire. Thanks for joining us.
Sorry,
all
Claire,
right. Hey, how are we doing, MJ, on sound? Good? I'm not too loud.
Great. No, it sounds great.
Is that coming through okay?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay. So any questions? Anybody ready to roll?
Ready.
All right, we'll do this. In 3, 2. Hey, welcome everybody to the most entertaining weather podcast on your listening and viewing device. You're watching and listening to the Stormfront Freaks podcast. It's brought to you by Extreme Tornado Tours. They're the world's most popular storm chase tour company, and they are the exclusive chase tour of the Stormfront Freaks. The 2020 schedule is now online, and actually seats are already starting to fill. And I think it has to do with all the storm activity we're getting right now. But visit extremetornadotours.com to go ahead and make sure you get a seat and get all the details. If you happen to be a first-time listener this evening, thanks for stopping by. Be sure to go to stormfrontfreaks.com, access our library of previous shows and famous guests from the weather industry like ABC's Ginger Z and the Weather Channel's Jen Carfagno. Tonight, we're recording episode 77 as part of our Coast to Coast with Your Favorite TV Meteorologist series. We have got Denver's very own homegrown, and I get this. So KDVR 31 and KWGN 2. So she's not only on one, but she's on two stations. But Jessica Lebel is joining us tonight. So thanks for joining us, Jessica. We're also going to be playing, of course, our lightning round game with her. And we've got our exclusive tracker chat and tornado talk segments. And of course, we'll finish with our infamous hashtag WeatherFools and WX resources. So before we get to all of that, let's go ahead and introduce our co-host tonight. It's always happy hour when we record. And so poning on up to the Stormfront Freaks bar, I hope you join us. But I'm going to start with our intern up at Ohio State University, Morgan. What are you drinking tonight?
Well, currently I am sipping on that sweet, sweet LaCroix. Passion fruit is the flavor
Sweet.
of the night. And
no
eventually
sugar, though.
I'll break into the 5 a.m. Saint by Brewdog. You said more sugar.
There's
Zero
no
sugar.
sugar.
No
right?
sugar. Yeah.
So how's it
Okay,
sweet?
I was about to say,
That's
there's
sweet.
Sweet,
That's false
sweet
advertising.
as in
False
Probably.
advertising.
So
All
you're
right.
doing water and then beer? Is that what you're
Yeah,
doing?
that's interesting.
yeah.
Beer before whiskey type thing?
Very interesting. All
All
right, I'm gonna
LaCroix
go.
before
I'm gonna
beer.
go to
I don't
the
know.
man that's also having dinner here while we're doing the show. But MJ, what are you drinking with your fine dinner this evening?
Thank you. Tonight, what's in Mark's refrigerator or MJ's refrigerator is Finnegan's Irish Ale. So we got that tonight.
Oh,
Yeah.
nice.
Nice. I want to know what he's eating.
Delicious.
Me too.
Mhm.
What are you eating?
Corned beef.
Taquitos.
Taquitos.
Okay. Frozen?
I just had a tamale.
Yeah,
Very
no,
good. There you go.
I haven't had a tamale in years.
Hey, you know it's Cinco de Mayo's coming up, so
That's right.
let's celebrate
It's the
that.
day I
True.
graduate.
All right, Maz.
Oh.
Maz, here we go. What are you drinking?
Okay, so I'm not doing LaCroix tonight. I'm doing
I know it's still Lent,
Hanson's.
though. So
Oh, yeah, I got 2 more days or 3 more days. Hanson's Sparkling since 1935 Lime Spark. It's actually pretty good. It's I don't know. There it is. Sorry.
all right.
So I don't know. It's good.
Wait a minute.
Good.
Did you give up alcohol for Lent?
Yes.
Yeah, welcome to the show, Kim.
How long have you been gone? Since like
Wow.
Well, on
It's
that
been a
note,
month.
Kim,
It's
on
been a
that note,
month.
what are you drinking? Thanks for
I sure
thanks for
didn't
coming
give up
back.
alcohol. Yeah.
You were smart.
No. I quit giving up things for Lent. I do things for Lent instead. Like
Good
I
for you.
switch over to wine.
Oh,
No,
well,
I
that's
I'm
good.
drinking I'm drinking Oak Grove. It's a red blend, and I just bought this, and so I'm kind of tasting to see if I like it or not. But it's out of California, so it's good.
Very
That's
good.
me. Red wine.
All right, and then I know Jessica is in our virtual green room. What was in the fridge? What are you drinking, Jessica?
I got a canned Moscow Mule. I don't have
Okay.
the copper mug. I wish I
Canned.
did. I
It
know,
looks
it's a
copper.
can.
It looks
I
like
know.
a copper can.
Yeah.
That's fair enough.
I know. Isn't that fun that they made it that way?
That is kind of cool. All right, well,
What's-
let's
what's
see,
in
Kim.
there?
Pretty good.
wait,
What's
what's
in
in a
it?
Moscow Mule?
It's like ginger beer and vodka with
Mhm.
some
Oh.
lime.
Okay.
Mhm.
Cool.
That's
Cool.
good. All right, hey
And
Kim,
Yeah.
Yes.
go ahead and let everybody know about Jessica.
Alrighty. Okay, here we go. All right, so Jessica Lebel is joining us here from Colorado. She's a meteorologist for KDVR 31, and as we heard, also for KWGN2 out of Denver. Now, she's a meteorologist for both of these stations. It's her native state. She was born in Denver, Colorado, and after stints in Grand Junction and Colorado Springs, she returned to Denver in 2017. Now, she earned a bachelor's degree in atmospheric science from the University of Kansas with an emphasis in news media forecasting. That's so cool they put those things together. You know,
Yeah.
I think, Jessica, especially for somebody in television, I mean, this is the best way to go. So let me ask you this. What made you choose University of Kansas versus, let's say, somewhere in Colorado?
Oh, great question. So CU and CSU don't have undergrad meteorology programs. So I knew
Okay.
I wanted a big state school. I wanted the big college sports, the whole experience. So I looked at schools around the area that were close, and KU was one of them. I toured University of Nebraska. I
Yes.
applied to Mizzou. And when I went to KU, I just fell in love with it. It's only about a 9-hour drive from me here in Denver. The atmospheric science program there is very small. I only graduated with about 8 people, but
Oh my
I loved
goodness.
it. I know. And in the heart of really Tornado Alley, that's something I also really loved. So I really enjoyed my time there.
It's a beautiful campus.
Oh, gorgeous. I
Yeah.
went there, I think in the fall, and it was
Oh.
just fantastic. They have the fountains going, and everything was just really beautiful. And so, yeah, I'm really happy I chose that.
That's awesome. Did you chase when you were out there?
Yes. So a lot of kids, it was very common for us to ask our teacher to get out a few minutes
Yeah.
early to go chase. I only went a few times. We usually went down towards the Wichita area to chase some storms. But yeah, that was very popular for a lot of kids that went to school there. And really, most of the kids I graduated with were from Kansas. So they kind of grew up even through high school being interested in weather and chasing. It was just a matter of who was going to risk their car and hail damage.
Exactly.
Now, if you graduated with 8 people, was there an AMS chapter there for a student chapter?
So there was, yeah, it was
Oh,
very
cool.
small. There was about 20 of us, I think, through all the grades that were in this AMS chapter. And I think something that's really cool and I think unique about my graduating class was there was only one male and all the rest of us were females, which I thought was really cool.
That
I'm
is
sure
really
he did too.
Of course they
Who
did.
knows?
Wow, we've come such a long way. It makes me really happy.
I know.
I was
yeah,
like, I think the
I just
only
loved it.
female. Yeah.
I know, and that's what a lot of people tell me back in the day. You know, it wasn't popular for women to go into this, but what I saw going through school is I think it's really changing, and it was fun to have a lot of female classmates. You know, we all did our homework together and just really could relate to one another as a woman in science. So it was really, really great.
Now, were all of them wanting to go into broadcasting, or were some of them going different
only
directions?
a few of us. Yeah, one gal did hydrometeorology. So KU was really interesting because they had these different like emphasis majors that you could choose. So I did the emphasis in media forecasting. So basically to graduate, I had to take a reporting class, a media writing class, and then just a class about how to find out information because I knew I wanted to go the more broadcast route. We had an air pollution one, we had a hydrometeorology one. So there were all these different groups that you could choose from. And then I think we just had a general meteorology one. So really all of us went in different directions, which is really cool to see now.
Oh, I bet.
So one of the questions we always ask everybody is, so why meteorology? Why'd you decide? What is it that something that happened in your life that made you decide to go into weather?
So the one event for me that I can think of growing up that made me realize how cool weather really is was the blizzard of 2003. I don't know if you guys have heard of that one, but in Denver, it dropped about 3 feet of snow at my parents' house. So I grew up in Littleton, which is sort of on the south side of Denver. It's about 20 minutes from downtown. And we had 2 weeks of spring break. So I was in elementary school then, and I remember 1 week we had spring break, and then the blizzard was the next week, and we didn't have school for a whole week because that's how much it kind of shut down the city. And of course, in Denver, it snows quite a bit, so we have the resources to be able to clear out snow, but that's just how devastating that storm was, is it really shut everything down for about a week. But as a kid during that storm, it was a lot of fun. We didn't have to go to school. We were able to, build snow forts and dig each other out to our neighbor's house so we could play with the other kids in the neighborhood. But I remember thinking, this is unbelievable, and I've never seen anything like this. So that was kind of the first event for me that I really realized how cool weather was and how impactful it could be. And it's funny now looking back on it because snow is definitely my favorite thing to forecast. It's my favorite thing to be out in our storm chasing truck in. So I am just a huge snow lover, and maybe it traces back to that event and having a lot of snow days growing up. But that was the one event. And then when I got to high school, I just realized, I love math and science. So I wanted to choose something where I was doing something in those fields, and it just seemed like the right fit for me. So I never looked back.
Yeah.
You guys have a storm chasing truck?
Yes. So we call it our pinpoint weather beast, which is really fun because we're like, hey, we're going out in the beast. And that's how we talk about it on air. Like, hey, I'm live in the beast tonight, and we can go live from inside the truck, which is really cool. So if I'm out on the plains of Colorado chasing severe thunderstorms and there's lightning around, I can be live inside the car, which is great.
Yeah.
So we don't have to kill our live shots just because there's a lightning threat or something like that. But it is this huge Chevy Silverado that's lifted a little bit, and they decked it out, and it actually growls like a beast. So we bring
Yeah,
that.
that's scary.
It's so much fun. It is so much fun. People are scared of it, I think. I'm scared to drive it. A lot of viewers ask
You
if I
drive it?
I don't. I've driven it in a parking lot one time for like a promo shoot.
Yeah.
I'm too scared. It's too big.
Is that where
but
the
we bring it
accident
to
happened?
schools. No. Oh, we bring it to schools a lot, and kids love the truck. So that's really, I mean, a lot of people know our station because they know about the beast.
Oh, that is so cool. Does
Yeah,
it
it's
really
so
growl?
fun.
So hey,
It does, yeah.
Jessica,
Oh my
what
God.
tell people what's the secret to being able to get your first jobs in your home state and now your home city? Well, I mean, what's the secret? Share the wealth.
Yeah, great question. So I'm still a little bit shocked that I even made it home to Denver. I feel very, very thankful to be here. I love Colorado with my whole heart. It's my home state, and it was my goal to make it to Denver, really, when I started in this industry. And the best advice I can give to people, especially going through school and going the broadcast route, is just to network. So I reached out to Denver meteorologists. I was able to go shadow them. I'd actually shadowed at every single station except mine before I got hired at Fox in the city beforehand, just reaching out to meteorologists. And they all were so generous to me when I was a student. I just wanted to ask them questions and see what their job is like and see what being a meteorologist in Denver really was like. And I ended up meeting a guy at a school career fair that was actually for the journalism department that I decided to go to. And he put me in contact with the news director in Grand Junction. And I knew that I was going to have to start probably in a smaller town. So I just reached out, and that's how I got started there. And I was extremely lucky. The television station I was working for in Grand Junction in Colorado Springs, they didn't really do contracts for a lot of their just reporters and newer, younger people. So when I was ready to move on from Colorado Springs, I went to, or should I say Grand Junction, I went to Colorado Springs knowing that there would be a lot more weather. So the Western Slope, it's very deserty, and there's not a whole lot of severe weather. There is some snow. Occasionally we'll get a severe thunderstorm or two, but it's definitely a lot crazier on the Front Range. So I knew I wanted to make it over to this side of the Rockies as fast as I could. And when I got to Colorado Springs, I really learned how crazy the weather is here in Colorado.
Did you visit the Air Force Academy?
Of course. Yeah, it's gorgeous. I went to
yeah.
a football game. It's amazing.
Yeah.
The Thunderbirds would fly over all the time. That's one of the things I miss most about Colorado Springs.
That's cool.
Is all of the jets that were training, we'd be out and about, and they would just be flying and practicing, and the Thunderbirds would fly overhead. So that's one of the things I miss most about it.
Oh, you're so lucky.
So when you were shadowing at the Denver stations, you were basically amassing information, all their secrets. So when you finally got back there,
Exactly. No, I just asked. I wanted them to keep it real with me and really let me know what it's like to be a real broadcast meteorologist. And I think it's cool because I'm sort of on that other side now as a broadcast meteorologist, and I get to do a lot of the school outreach for my station. And I do a lot of career days at middle schools. So I get to, in turn, tell kids, what it's really like to be a broadcast meteorologist, just like those mentors and other meteorologists in Denver did for me when I was going through school. So it's really cool to be on the other side of it. But they were all so generous. And as you guys know, it's a small, tight-knit community. So I feel like when someone finds out you're going into meteorology, they want to do anything they can to help you in your journey. And I think that's really awesome.
So what's the kind of advice you can give young people that are trying to break into meteorology today? Now you said you're on the other side. So what kind of information are you passing along?
So one of the big things, and I think a lot of people don't realize how much this can play into broadcast meteorology, is you just have to have a thick skin. You're going to have consultants telling you what they want you to do. You're going to have bosses telling you how you should do things. But more importantly, you're going to have mean viewers who are going to tell you what they think of your hair and your clothes and how you pronounced a word and whatever it may be. And they're calling the station, they're emailing the station. And I didn't really realize how much flack people on TV get until I was in the industry. So I think just warning them about that and just also letting them know we're not perfect. We're just normal humans. We're going to mess up our words sometimes. We're going to, be looking at the wrong camera when the camera's on us. There's all these little things that can go wrong in a newscast, but you just have to learn to brush it off and just know that you're a normal human, and hopefully people will accept that.
So you mess up. What's the worst thing you've ever said on the air?
Oh, goodness. I don't think I've said anything super bad. I remember one morning, here's a story. I was filling in for the morning guy. And actually, since I started in this business, I've been the weekend meteorologist. So I'm never used to working mornings when I have to fill in. And I remember it was our 4:30 a.m. hit. And I was trying to say carbon copy. And I said copy carbon. And I was like, wait a second. And I remember that moment because I paused and I was like, you know what? It's 4:30 in the morning. I can't quite get my thoughts together just yet.
That's nothing. You got to say,
really, that's pretty mild.
If you're going to say warm air mass, don't drop air.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. That would be
Man, I've said that. I've said it all, man.
That's hilarious.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I one time was on the desk in Grand Junction, and I'm terrified of spiders. And we were doing the tag at the end of my weather forecast, and there was a spider on its web coming down in front of my face, maybe a few inches from it.
No.
Yeah. And I was debating, and I was newer at this point. I'd only been in the industry a few months. So, you know how when you first start out, you think you have to ignore everything that's happening and just keep going on. So that's what I did. But it dropped on the desk in front of us, and it was crawling around. So I remember looking back at the hit, and I kept following it with my eyes. And I looked kind of concerned, like I had really wide eyes, and I was definitely concerned about something, but I never brought it up to the viewers. But I think now I would say something, oh, there's a spider, look at that. And viewers would be able to relate more, but...
That is so true, Jessica. So true, because you do that. I remember the same thing at the Weather Channel, and I mean, we've had squirrels in the studio, we've had birds in the studio, spiders, flies, bees, wasps, everything in there. The same thing, because the people see it, and when it's live, they see what's going on, and if you ignore it, they're like, "How can you ignore that? There's a spider right in front of your face."
Exactly.
So with you, it's like you just acknowledge it and move on.
Oh, it's so
and you
funny.
ignore it.
So Jessica, what's the most nervous you've been on air? What's the moment that
that's a good question.
You had the sweaty palms and you were done and you totally couldn't remember what you even just said.
Oh goodness. Let's see. We had a few wildfires start when I was down in Colorado Springs, and it was always a panic at first to get on air, and we would do a cut-in for it because obviously in Colorado Springs, there was the Waldo Canyon fire and the Black Forest fire. So anytime there is a wildfire down in that area, people are a little bit anxious about it and they want to know what's going on. So we try to alert the public as fast as possible. So I remember being in our newsroom and these fires would break out, and our news director would just say, all right, get on air right now. And it's at the moment where you don't know any information about the fire. And I remember that happening several times. And you're just like, okay, well, I'm talking about this wildfire. Here it is. We don't know how big it is. We don't know what caused it. But you're just kind of up there talking until your news director lets you know that you don't need to talk anymore. So I would say situations like that are just kind of out of the blue and you don't have all the information that you want. I've been in a few blizzards where we're in the car and we can't see a few feet in front of us. And it gets to the point where I'm like, okay, we're going to pull over here because, we're not safe. It doesn't necessarily make me scared or nervous.
Were you on the air at the time?
There has been situations, yeah.
Okay.
Because we can go live in our Pinpoint Weather Beast. So there's been times where we're like, okay, we're going to pull over. There was one time, and obviously that truck is something we use a lot for marketing at our station. And we were trying to chase down some hail damage. And there was this big hailstorm. It was last year in Aurora, Colorado. And they had tennis ball sized hail that was just smashing out everyone's windshields. And I'm sure you guys have seen some of the hailstorms we've seen here in Colorado. They're pretty devastating. And we were taking the Pinpoint Weather Beast to go find some of the damage to get it on air because we were interrupting whatever show was on and doing a live cut-in. And all of a sudden we had a tennis ball sized hailstone drop on our windshield and just crack it all the way across. And I remember them tossing to me right after that. And I just was like, I am so sorry. We cracked the windshield of the Beast. We're trying to get out of this
big.
storm and
Yikes.
find the damage.
Dangerous.
Yeah. That was one of the situations where I'm like, am I in trouble? Like, I don't want to damage our Beast. We need to get south.
Are you calling it the pinpoint weather beast or pimped out weather beast?
I wish pimped out, but it's
Okay.
pinpoint.
No
That's like our
spinners,
team brand.
hubcaps
Pinpoint
that spin.
weather.
Okay. All right.
Hey,
No,
so
but it's pretty pimped out.
I'm gonna ask a couple questions. So Maz, when you go to your phone to like look up the weather for the day, what app are you looking at?
I actually use Weather Underground.
Okay, Kim, what about you? What's your go-to daily weather?
My go-to is Weather Channel.
Okay, so here's the point. I already talked to people. There's two different options. There's a ton of choices out there, and you probably ask yourself, why the heck would anybody make a new weather app with all the different apps out there? So I'm telling you, you only ask that question because you haven't tried Atmosphere Weather. Atmosphere Weather, it's all about presenting your entire daily forecast each hour on one screen around a 24-hour clock. And now on Android and iOS, if you're a baseball fan, you can view each day's game time right on the hourly weather dial. And if it looks good, you can also order tickets to the game right from the app. Isn't that cool?
Oh, wow.
So if it looks good, weather looks good, I can just click a button right there and you can get your tickets right from the app. So you got to try it to believe it. Stop what you're doing right now. Pause the podcast and download Atmosphere Weather. It's now on iOS and Android. There's a full-featured free trial. Then there's a basic version that's free once the trial's over. So trust me, guys. Follow the freaks and search Atmosphere Weather in your app store, or you can visit atmosphereweather.com. So we're going to go ahead and take a short break. Go ahead and refill your drink and check out Tracker Chat with the Tornado Trackers. They're now discussing part 3 of the tornado events that have shaped them, and we'll be right back. All right. Cool. Hey, Jessica, I saw your mom's listening to us too.
Yes,
Hi,
she
Jessica's
says hi.
mom.
She's my biggest supporter. She loves that I'm home because she tunes into all the newscasts. And she knows everyone at the station by their names. And...
Tell her we love the chandelier in the background there.
Oh, I will.
and we love it that all our moms watch and yours.
Yeah.
Too. That's
Yeah,
great.
we're like the show that every mom watches, so that's why we have 8 listeners.
My mom even watches you guys when I'm not on.
Does she really?
Oh, very good.
Moms are the best supporters.
They are.
They absolutely are. All right. Any MJ, any questions from our viewers? Or you want to shout out to any of them that are on right now? Chat.
No, well, we got Jessica's mom.
Wait.
One.
Is mom like downstairs right now?
No, I'm not at her house.
Oh, okay. All right.
Yeah, we don't live together.
Okay.
You got some people to talk about and remember the 2003 blizzard that you did do. Yep.
Yeah.
Was that in March?
It was, yes.
Of course.
Yep.
Of course. Okay.
It
All right.
was
So here's
crazy.
what we'll do. We'll just come right back and we'll keep asking questions. Morgan,
I'm back.
you're there. Do you have any questions? You haven't asked any yet, and you have to remember you got to step on people's feet if you got a question.
Yeah, I know.
Sorry.
I don't have like many questions. I don't
We're-
know. I don't really have any like crazy
So what's Denver
questions.
like? What's where's a good place to go eat?
Where do you get the chandelier picture? Where do you get that?
Is there anything
Wait,
fun to do in
Phil, I don't-
Colorado?
Phil, I don't know if it's me or my headphones or what. You sound a little tinny.
Tinny.
But I think then I've been checking the feed.
Yeah.
And I think it sounds okay there. It's a little weird here, but
Okay.
Yeah.
It's a bunch of TV people. We're all very hollow. you
Well,
know.
true. Yeah.
Hey,
So-
and I'll ask this too. Did anybody notice that Jessica's video is a little bit behind her audio, or is that me?
No.
Oh
I thought
no.
I've
It
noticed
is,
that.
but
I
there's
got
nothing that
Nothing we
generally-
can do about it. Yeah, but
No, there isn't. It generally
Darn.
corrects itself on the.
that's okay.
somehow.
That's okay.
But-
it's just it looks like you're speaking a Japanese subtitle
does, yeah.
movie or something.
Are you on dial-up? Are you on dial-up again?
No, got that
No, that's Kim.
Xfinity.
That'd be Kim.
Kim.
That'd be me.
All right, so we'll come back. I've got some more questions I can ask too, so we'll just keep asking you some questions, and then we will go to lightning round. Sound good?
Cool.
Perfect.
All righty. Let's do this. Coming back in 3, 2. Hey, welcome back. So we're with Denver meteorologist Jessica Lebel, and so Jessica, my question I want to start off with you is now that you said you've gotten to the other side of the Rockies, you're in Denver, you've got more severe weather. What's your station? And I should say stations. And I might ask you about that later as well. But what's your philosophy on severe weather? How do you guys handle it? Do you go live the whole time there's something within your DMA? Are you how are you interrupting programming and all that?
So yeah, interesting question. So here in Denver, we try to cover weather for the whole state. There are a few areas, obviously, that Colorado Springs and Grand Junction cover that we don't reach. But the majority of the state we do try to broadcast for. So there's about 9 counties that we have kind of up and down the Front Range that are more populated, where if there's a tornado warning or something like that, we're going to be on the air to let people know. Obviously, it does depend if we have, NFL football on a Thursday night, we may just, run the crawl and cut into commercial time. But it really does depend on population. It's so interesting to work on the Front Range because you have all these cities, Fort Collins, Boulder, Denver, down to Colorado Springs that are pretty populated. And then you get out onto the Eastern Plains and there's not a ton of people that live out that direction. So we're constantly trying to figure out, how many people are under the threat. But really, no matter where it is, if we know there's a confirmed tornado on the ground, we're going to be on the air. So we just kind of evaluate what show is on, how big the threat is. And then we really take into account for those 9 kind of metro counties is what we call it. And then what's interesting about the Front Range is it's not just tornadoes that we would cut in for. We can have burn scar flooding that becomes pretty dangerous. Obviously, our hailstorms have been a very big one since I've been in Denver. We have seen hailstorms completely destroy house windows, all the windows on cars, car dealerships. Really, once a year we get a big storm like that across the metro. So that is something that we will be carrying people through, for an hour or 2 on air until the threat passes. So,
do you go into like Western Kansas or any Nebraska or anything like that?
We have heard that some of, let's say, southwestern Nebraska or even southern Wyoming can get some of our channels, but we don't necessarily. We'll travel or show something in Cheyenne, let's say, because it's a little bit more populated, especially like Cheyenne Frontier Days, which is a big country music festival. A lot of our people are traveling up there to go listen to the music. So that's something that we will cover that area and just kind of let people know what's going on. But certainly if there's tornadoes really anywhere around the state, we're talking about it and showing people just because it's impacting, someone and it's close to our state. So people probably have heard about it.
What's with those 2 channels? So obviously you're not the first person we had in that situation, but explain that. And then my question is, do you see this being the trend where stations are consolidating those resources?
Yeah, great question. So yeah, my first station actually in Grand Junction was a duopoly. It was KKCO and KJCT.
Duopoly, I love that game.
Yeah, duopoly. So yeah, that's what we, I guess, call it here in the industry. But ABC and NBC were the affiliates I worked for in Grand Junction, and this one is CW and Fox. So it's very interesting to work for 2 stations because a lot of people will get viewer questions like, hey, I saw you were on both channels tonight. Did you have to drive far to go to the other station? But we're all under one roof. So the 2 studios are right next to each other. Most of the on-air talent, we're really on both stations. So when people ask which channel I work for, I say both because I'm absolutely on both. So we have different newscasts. The only ones that are overlapping and at the same time is the 2 morning shows on either station. But in the evening, we have a 4 p.m. on our channel 2, and then we'll have a 5 p.m. on Fox 31, and then a 7 p.m. on channel 2, and then 9:10 on Fox, and then an 11 p.m. on channel 2.
Don't you ever get confused?
Oh, yeah, it happens. We have a lot of reporters that will, accidentally start tagging out on one, or sometimes we'll just say, reporting live for Fox 31 and Channel 2, and people kind of know that we're, together as one. And all of our jackets and branding and stuff have both stations on it. So it's really interesting to have the two different sides. And I will say it gets kind of crazy because we have a lot of newscasts, more than you would normally have at just one channel. So if people are out of town, you know, you're going back to back to back to back on newscasts, which can get pretty crazy, but it does make the day fly by.
Kim, it's like you, Kim. You're working basically it's 24 hours constantly on the air.
Yeah.
It's almost like that. And then Phil, to answer your question about really stations consolidating, I do think that it's possible, especially in different regions, that a lot of newscasts broadcast out of one station. And I do think that's kind of where things are going. And I think a lot of the bigger cities are going to be where a lot of these smaller cities are going to broadcast from. They just have a lot more of the resources, and it's going to be really interesting to see, you know, 10, 20 years down the road what happens. But I do see that becoming more of a trend.
That's how they get away from not having to pay you twice.
Exactly.
True.
I mean, it's definitely
No,
money's
that's true.
driving this. Absolutely.
Any radio
Do they-
stations?
Yeah. So we do weather actually for, I would say, a good 5 to 10 stations across the state. So when we come in, we are, and so it'll be like more of a broad group that owns a couple of stations, and we'll just record one hit. But we do them for the mountains, the southeastern plains. We have a northern mountain group, a southern mountain group, a northern front range group, a northeastern plains, and then we'll do it for here in the metro. So when we get in, we're forecasting for the whole state right away for our radio hits.
That's like country and western.
Yeah. And it's interesting because, you know, we're talking to people who live in the mountains, we're talking to people on the southeastern plains, and then we're also trying to relate and talk to people who live up and down the metro. So it's a pretty interesting mix.
Now
What-
for
what-
like two
Go ahead, Maureen.
for, two different stations, because we have something like that in Columbus for like Fox 28 and ABC 6 are the same thing basically. Do they produce the same, like I'm sure the weather's exactly the same because why would it be different, but like do they produce the same news content, or is there like something slightly different? I'm sure like the morning shows, since they're different shows, are different, but you know,
Great
how
question.
is that?
Yeah, so a lot of our reporters, when they're out working on a story, if it's like a big package or something, they can kind of do a little bit of a different angle for the other station. Sometimes, obviously, if we're in a time crunch, it's the same content. And what's been really interesting is to work for a weather team that has two stations. And our big goal is to keep the message really consistent between the two of them. So not only are we forecasting, you know, for ourselves and to broadcast out to our viewers, but we have to work with the other meteorologist who, say, is doing the Channel 2 morning show if I'm working the Fox morning show. And we really need to communicate with each other on, okay, so what is going to be our range for snowfall totals? What do you think the high is going to be tomorrow? And that's certainly been something we've had to work out as a team and just kind of work together and make it one consistent message. So if people are watching Fox or they're watching Channel 2, they're getting the same weather forecast.
Can I ask why not have just one? I mean, why have two if everything's pretty much the same?
Yeah, that's a good question. I think
know?
they really like to have the exciting, you know, only seen on Fox. You know how they'll run those stories that are specials, or only seen at 9 p.m. tonight, or new at 9. So they really try to pick or choose. A lot of the content is the same, I will say, but there's certain stories that they will save for either a specific channel or a specific newscast. And maybe it's an anchor, you know, doing a special project that works more on one side than the other. Then they'll be more likely to run it on that specific side. But I mean, it's most of the content is the same because the reporters are reporting for both sides.
So what are you doing, Jessica, personally to try and stay ahead of the TV news curve and TV broadcasting, and because you know they're consolidating, they're that medium as far as people watching on TV is changing. So what I want to know is personally, obviously you sound like you're obviously well aware of that. What are you doing personally to make sure you're kind of staying ahead of that?
Yeah, great question. Really focusing on digital outlets. Social media has been really big for me, not only me and my station. They've really pushed us kind of getting our weather information out that way.
Do they have a requirement? I'm going to quick interrupt. Do they have a requirement social media wise for you?
Not necessarily, but we do have a certain system where they can kind of see how we're doing. So they will check in with us, and we try to set goals for ourselves to be at, you know, a certain point by the end of the year or whatever it may be. So we're always trying to push ourselves to really connect with people more that way. And I have found, I mean, more viewers are asking me about, you know, Facebook Lives or an Instagram story where I was posting snowfall totals than I ever get just doing a newscast and people emailing after. So I've really found that's been my way to connect with viewers. And I think a lot more of the content is going to be available online than it will be on TV, because people, you know, they're not stopping their lives these days to watch the 6 p.m. newscast.
Yeah.
So, you know, teachers these days have to take their laptops home, and they almost have to stay online for the kids to ask questions till 10 o'clock. Do you find that with radio and social media, it's not an 8-hour day? It's just like all the time for you, or what?
I will say it depends on the weather. So if I know it's going to be a big severe weather day, or if I know there's a blizzard coming in the next day or two, I'm definitely going to be paying attention to my social media more. I'm going to be posting information out to people, even when I'm not at work. But I think it is important for people to sort of step away from work when they're not at work, and to kind of have that time away. And I try to set aside a time or two, at least each week, where I don't have my phone and I'm not on Instagram. And, you know, maybe it's picking one day a week where I'm not posting on social media. And obviously, if the weather's going to be crazy, that may change. But I think it's really important to separate those two things sometimes.
Your future kids will appreciate that.
That's right.
Oh, good.
All right. So what do you do for fun? What are your hobbies?
Okay. Well, being in Colorado, I ski, which is a lot of fun.
Yay.
Requirement.
Yeah.
Love it.
When I lived in Kansas, I was kind of sad because I didn't have ski areas, but every winter break we would plan a trip to go to Colorado and ski. And then I do some hiking around the area. I watched college basketball, obviously, going to KU.
Yeah.
Big KU basketball fan.
Of course.
So related to that, one of the viewers says, can you pick a favorite Colorado town or area?
Oh, that's tough. Oh, man. I would have to say Vail, Colorado is my favorite town in the state.
Okay.
I grew up skiing there, so I have a lot of memories there. I think it's very, very beautiful, the architecture. It's very like European-esque. I think the skiing is fantastic there. I believe it's the largest ski area in the state. So I always enjoy my time there. There's a lot of cool restaurants. There's some nightlife there. So it's a pretty cool mountain town. I'd have to say that's my favorite. And then I also love the Broadmoor Hotel in Colorado Springs. If anyone comes to Colorado, Morgan, I recommend taking a visit. It's so cool.
I'm super
Cool.
excited. There's so much stuff to do out there.
So much.
Yeah.
Oh,
Way
I
more
hope-
in Ohio, you know.
Here, I'll say this,
Aw.
Morgan, I hope you like being outside, because one of the things I was looking up for the lightning round was trying to find like top 10 most popular places in Colorado, and it was all parks, outside parks, and you know, so I hope you like outside.
I do like outside.
Good.
I like to climb. Colorado's a good climbing
Oh,
place.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
You're coming to the right place.
Yeah. I know.
Good.
I know. That's why I chose it. Yeah.
All right. So, hey, Jessica, how can our listeners find you and follow you on social media and stalk
Yes.
you if they're not already?
Oh,
Wow.
no. So
Jeez.
most of my stuff is Jessica Lebel WX. So if you just search that in Instagram, Twitter, or
Yeah.
Facebook, you'll be able to find my page.
Very
You
simple.
just freaked out her mom right there. Like, no, don't.
Yeah. Well,
No, which, unfortunately, that's
she
part
was
of the
obviously
business.
explaining the challenges with.
I'd say you freaked out my mom when you mentioned severe weather in Colorado. She just found out that they got tornadoes out there. She's
Oh no.
yeah.
It's pretty rare in
Like,
Fort
she's-
Collins, right?
Everyone's mom.
Like,
And Maz,
Mom, I
Maz,
get
the only
something.
I'll say, Maz, the only reason people never stalked you is because there was no social media when you were on the air. So
That's right.
you were able to avoid that.
We had stone tablets and we chiseled, so it took longer.
All
So I gotta say,
right.
that's such a
We
weird. part
really
of the
did.
business.
Oh, hey, that's the sound. It is time for our lightning round, Jessica. This is our game show of flashy questions for our guest. We invite everybody to play along, including you that happen to be listening tonight. So I told you I was trying to do a little research on this. Tonight, what we're gonna do, I'm gonna call this. I don't know what to call this because I'm just gonna call it Colorado or Arizona.
Okay.
Pretty boring title, but so here I should have come up with a better one, but here's what it is. Okay, I looked up movies that were filmed in its entirety or partially in Colorado,
Okay.
And then I also looked up, I tried to make this interesting. I'm like, well, it's got to be a state. You know, it can't be Colorado or Florida because it'd be too easy to understand. So it's Colorado or Arizona. So I'm going to give you the name of two movies. One was filmed in Colorado. One was filmed in Arizona. You have to tell me which movie was filmed in Colorado. Does that make sense?
Ooh, sounds tough.
And as we play the lightning round, the freaks are always welcome to encourage you if they think they know, or you certainly can ask. But none of them live in Colorado or Arizona, so I don't know how much help you're going to get. And Morgan hasn't been there quite yet. So here we go. You ready?
I'm ready.
All right, so here's the first one. I'm going to give you two movies. One is Tombstone from 1993. The other is The Lone Ranger, Disney's The Lone Ranger from 2013. One was Colorado and one was filmed in Arizona. Which was Colorado?
I'm going to say The Lone Ranger.
You would be correct. It was The Lone Ranger, was filmed in Colorado. All right, we're on a roll.
Did you just raise the roof?
I did.
Check.
Nice.
Here we go. Next one. Mr. and Mrs. Smith, 2005 film, or Jerry Maguire, a 1996 film. One was filmed in Colorado, one Arizona. Which one was Colorado?
How about Jerry Maguire?
Jerry Maguire. That would be incorrect. It was Mr. and Mrs. Smith.
Wow.
So that was Brad Pitt and Jolie.
Yeah, Angelina.
Yes.
Yeah.
See, they're already out of the news. I don't even remember their names anymore. Wow. Okay, if you are a sci-fi fan, you have to tell me which of these was filmed in Colorado. It was either Independence Day or it was Star Trek First Contact. Independence Day was a 96 film. So was Star Trek First Contact.
I've never seen either of those.
So you're not a sci-fi fan.
Independence
Okay, we
Day.
know that.
Yeah, that was a great movie.
We just lost a couple of the moms listening to us. What do you think, freaks? Which one was
I think
Colorado?
Independence Day was Colorado.
Okay, we'll go with Independence.
All
Day.
right.
Independence
First
Day.
Contact. Oh,
That is
yeah.
correct.
Okay.
That was, you should have zipped it before
Yeah, you're right.
their mask. Okay, moving on. We got a couple comedies here. Spaceballs, 1987 film, which you probably don't remember, and Dumb and Dumber,
I do.
which is a 1994 film. You probably weren't born during any of these, but Spaceballs or Dumb and
No, I
Dumber.
was.
Oh,
One
now if
was
you think
Colorado,
about,
one was Arizona.
think about one of the scenes
Ooh.
in Dumb and Dumber. It could not be Arizona.
Yeah, it's Dumb and Dumber for sure.
Wow, very good. Good job, Kim.
Remember his
Yeah.
Good job.
tongue
The
got
tongue
stuck on the pole or something? Yeah.
Yep.
Good job.
That's
Good job, Kim.
Remember the
Thanks.
most annoying sound that you've ever heard? Remember that? I won't do it now. But okay, moving on to another couple comedies. These are older ones. We've got City Slickers, 1991, and we have Three Amigos, 1986.
Good Lord.
That was there,
Ooh.
Colorado.
Hmm.
Colorado. Do you even know those two movies?
City Slickers? Never seen either of those.
City Slickers, you would be correct.
Good job.
That is correct. All right,
Just
Good
love
movie.
Monday.
That's a
Judy,
good
moving
I
on.
movie.
that one.
couple action films. Ready for a couple action films?
Yeah.
Die Hard 2
Mm.
from 1990 or Days of Thunder, 1990. So Die Hard, Bruce Willis, Days of Thunder, Tom Cruise. Who was in Colorado?
I'm gonna say Days of Thunder.
Days of Thunder. That would be incorrect. You were on a roll there. Die Hard was filmed in Colorado. Adventure. Here we got some adventure movies. Star Wars Return of the Jedi, 1983, or Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade in 1989. One was filmed in Colorado, one was filmed in Arizona.
Ooh.
What do you think?
Yeah, I think Star Wars. 'Cause Indiana Jones, I picture like desert.
Desert,
I don't
okay. Return of the Jedi was filmed in Arizona. So
Oh,
Oh, I would have thought the same thing, Jessica. Yeah.
that was hard.
you know, the hard part is it doesn't mean they were in the film, they were in Colorado, right? They just happened
True.
to be there. But all right, we got three more left. A couple more comedies here. We've got Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure in 1989, and we have Christmas Vacation in 1989. Which one was
Oh,
filmed in
man.
Colorado? Freaks, any idea?
I
Christmas
think Christmas
Vacation.
Vacation.
That's what I think too.
Yeah, I do too.
Christmas Vacation?
Yeah.
That would be
Yeah.
correct.
Hey,
Very good. All right. Couple more 80s films here. We've got War Games, 1983 with Matthew Broderick, and we have Revenge of the Nerds, 1984, with I don't know who was in
What
that
the
movie.
fuck's a frush? Anybody remember that? What the fuck's a frush? Oh, well, never mind. You had to be there.
I don't remember that
Sorry.
quote. I saw the movie. I don't
Went
remember.
around
edit that
real
out.
life.
Revenge of the Nerds. That's my vote.
Revenge of the Nerds. That would be
Aw.
incorrect. It was War Games that was filmed in Colorado. And then here's kind of the last one. A couple of 60s and 70s movies, Maz. This is up your alley.
What the? What? Go ahead,
got-
Kim. Say it again. Say it again.
Planet of the Apes, 1968, or we have Every Which
good
Way But
Lord.
Loose, 1978.
That's crazy.
Oh.
So a Clint Eastwood film, or a who was Planet of the Apes? Charlton Heston.
Charlton Heston, yeah.
Charlton Heston.
Ooh, what do you guys think?
I think Clint Eastwood film.
That's
Okay.
the
Well, to zip it, son.
So Every Which Way But Loose. Is that what you're
Yeah.
saying?
Mhm.
That would be correct. Very good. Now here's a gimme. This is a gimme. You ready for this one?
Hopefully.
Okay. 1995 film with Andy Garcia, Christopher Walken, and Steve Buscemi called Things to Do in Denver When You're Dead, or the Nicolas Cage flick in 1987 called Raising Arizona. One was filmed in Colorado. One was filmed
There's
in
a
Arizona.
movie called Things to Do in Denver When You're Dead.
There is.
That's
It,
hilarious.
it must be a mob
right,
movie
that's my
because
vote.
with
It's not skiing, just to let you know.
with
I
Andy
wonder.
Garcia,
I
Christopher
wonder.
Walker, and Steve Buscemi, I'd figure it's got to be some kind
I
of
gotta watch that.
mob
Yeah,
film. But
that's
so you said Things to Do in Denver When You're Dead,
Yeah.
and
There
that
you
would be
go.
correct.
Good job. Yeah.
Well
That
done.
was tough.
You know, I figured I'd throw an easy one in there because if you didn't do very well, at least you'd finish on a high note.
Got
But
one.
You did outstanding.
Yeah.
I think you only
You
missed a
did
couple.
great.
And
Only
The whole
like
thing.
2
Great.
of those movies were out when I went to Wild.
Oh my God. We don't want to hear that more.
And Mr. and Mrs. Smith and whatever was in 2013. Everything else was before.
Hey, MJ, it's really loud.
so all that means is that either they are not filming films in Arizona or Colorado anymore, or just not any good ones that people would know what they
They're
are.
all filmed in
Anyway.
Atlanta.
Both.
They are. They're all in Atlanta.
All
My
right,
cousin
so-
was an extra
true.
on something.
So thanks for
really?
playing along, Jessica. Well done on
Oh,
that.
thanks, guys.
We're gonna go
Nice
ahead. We're gonna
job.
take our final break with our tornado talk segment, and we're gonna be right back with some weather fools.
Woo, woo.
All right, great job, Jessica.
Thanks.
Well done.
Yes.
That was a hard
Yeah,
lightning
that was
round.
fun.
Yeah, that
That
wasn't
That was
easy.
the hardest one
It
I've
was really
been a part of.
crapshoot. But
It's funny too because I'm way more a show watcher than a movie watcher. So people ask me all the time, like, "Hey, have you seen this movie?" And I'm always like, "No."
I should have
Like
done
I've never
TV
seen
shows.
Star Wars.
Okay.
I'd
never
rather
seen Harry
watch.
God, you've
Potter.
never seen Star Wars.
Oh,
No,
no.
or Harry Potter.
Someone mute her right now.
Oh,
Cut her
There's not
off.
Harry
Or
Potter.
Harry Potter. Wow.
I know
My.
it's so bad. I know.
Just
I'd
lost
rather
the
watch
wisdom
an
in the
entire series than I would a movie for some reason. I don't know.
too.
Yeah,
Me
I've
too.
I've seen The Office like 8
It's a
times.
millennial deal.
It must
But
be.
it's
It's that
Game of
age
Thrones.
group.
too old. Yeah.
Hey, Jessica, can you do us a quick favor? Do a soundbite for us. Just say something like, "This is Denver's Jessica Lebel. You're listening to the Stormfront Freaks podcast."
Yeah, of course. You ready?
Yep.
Okay. This is Denver's Jessica Lebel, and you're listening to the Stormfront Freaks podcast. You need
Well
a
done.
redo?
Nice.
Well done. Nope, that
Oh,
was
that's
good. We're gonna take that. We're
Yeah.
not too picky.
Was that perfect? Yeah.
As long as you get our name right, then we're okay. Whatever else you say doesn't
That
really
doesn't
matter.
always happen.
If I get my own name wrong, I've
Yeah.
had too many mules.
So, some of the guests are like, storm freaks. Where's my beer?
Thanks for watching the Freaks on the Storm. Nope, cut. Do
Gary
another take.
England.
No.
Gary was the best.
Yeah,
Oh,
Oh my
definitely.
goodness. He was
Uh,
funny.
Okay, so Jessica, so we got these last two segments to finish up with. You want to stick around, or you need to take
yeah,
off?
I'll
Up
stick
to you.
around. I'm having fun.
Okay, beautiful. So our two segments. So we're going to start with hashtag Weather Fools. Morgan, you're going to introduce. We're gonna. I know.
Ooh, boy.
I'm a nice guy. I'm willing to, give you a second shot.
Redemption.
Yep, try it
Okay.
again.
Okay,
Practice.
as always,
Practice.
you can
You're an
always find
intern.
it.
It's all about learning and falling forward, right?
Yes.
So we'll introduce that. You'll introduce what it is. I have got a weather fool. Anybody else with a weather fool?
I have one, but I've got two, but I don't know if somebody's already is going to cover this one. So how do we? I don't know. I'll
I
chat
know.
it.
I don't think anybody's going to cover mine. I think it's unique enough.
Okay. All right.
So the only other one I was thinking about too is for whatever reason on Twitter, everybody's showing their vehicles in Texas covered in mattresses or bean bags. Oh,
Yeah.
do it.
No. I'll do this other one.
That's not mine.
Oh, it's not. Okay.
No.
All right, cool. Okay.
But I thought about adding that one as well because someone had their stupid truck covered in air mattresses and it was sitting right outside the garage. They have a garage, yet they took the time to buy air mattresses to tie down to the top of their truck. Which,
I know.
but no, that'll work.
Okay. All right.
Because that's not mine. So,
Okay.
do you need? I know it's been a while, Kim. Do you need to practice sharing your screen? You're really cutting out. Not cutting out, but you're really fuzzy.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
Am I still fuzzy now?
Yeah,
It
you are.
looks like
Little skeleton-ishy.
skeleton-ishy. I've lost some weight.
MJ.
I got it.
Now you got it. Back
Okay.
from Halloween. Remember that?
Oh,
Yeah.
That's the one where we were crying for what, 2 minutes? We couldn't even talk. Oh my word.
Yeah, we had
I
the
forgot
giggles.
about that.
What?
We had the giggles.
All right. So you want me to go? Is that what I'm hearing?
Well, no, okay. So you've got two, but I just wanted to know: do you need to practice sharing? your
No,
screen
I don't think
before
so.
we
I
go?
think I
Okay.
think I got it.
All right. So
I think
Kim's
I
got
remember.
two, and I have one. Weatherfool. And then when we're done, Morgan, just remind people they'll be posted on our episode 77 show notes on stormfrontfreaks.com, or a lot of times right from their podcast app on their phone, if that's how they listen. Then Maz, you've got WX Resources, and I have
And
one.
You do? Good.
I
Okay.
do.
I have one too.
I do not.
I
have.
didn't do my homework.
God, Maz did. This is like the
Yeah.
apocalypse is coming. 'Cause Maz is the one that did the homework and nobody else did this
Wow.
time. So,
That's
all
right.
right, Jessica, do you have a weather fool you want to talk about, or do you have a resource you want to
I
share?
don't. Just here
Okay.
to see your guys's.
Okay, no, it's fair enough. And
So is there-
everybody's welcome
Is
to
there
comment.
anything really cool on your station's website or anything that you're like, oh yeah, you guys got to see this?
I would love to show you guys a picture of our weather beast,
Yes.
Oh, that would
would be cool.
Oh yeah.
if I can
that.
get one.
And pimped out. I want to see that. Yeah.
All right, so see if you can find
She
it,
able-
and then do you know how to share screen on Google Hangouts? Share your screen. If
do
you
not.
if you move around your mouse to the left, there's some icons, and there's one that has a green screen with an arrow.
I'm on an iPad.
Maybe
so I
not.
don't
Okay.
know.
Oh, okay.
But maybe I can just hold it up. I don't know if it'll work that way.
I don't know about that.
Yeah, maybe not.
It might. You can. I
But
mean,
it's
you
all
can,
good.
You could try
you can
it.
just mention it again. We can put it.
Just mention it. We can make
Whatever
a
you
link.
want.
Make a
Just
link
Describe
to it.
it really well.
Yeah, that's right. Because you have to realize a lot of people are just listening. So anything we show, we have to
Think
describe anyway.
Yeah.
Close
not
your
a-
eyes.
not a
Imagine
webinar.
Yeah, fair enough.
Four-wheel vehicle.
You do know when you say pinpoint weather beast from now on, you're going to think pimped out and be like,
Pimped
you
out.
are.
That was- she's going to say it on the air.
Yeah, pimped out.
New
Oh,
rims.
darn it.
I'm gonna blame you.
This damn storm
We all blame him all the
Darn-
time anyway.
Darn those guys.
Okay,
Oh, my God.
and then Maz, episode 77, and then
Yep.
we'll go to the Freak Fan Box. MJ, do we have things from previous shows?
Yes, we do, because I flipped it
Okay.
over and shook it, and some fell out that I missed that last
Okay.
Nice.
few weeks ago.
Okay, and then I'll close this out. We'll
Cool.
close this out from there. So, and then MJ, anybody online right now we want to shout out to that you happen to see that's active?
Ras Beans 51 has been really active. I think he's a fan of Jessica's. He or she, I guess I don't know.
Raspbean.
Ras Beans 51.
If it's got beans in it, it's probably a guy. I don't know.
All right. I was thinking if it had Ras in it, it was probably a female.
Oh,
Oh,
Women can be
Oh.
beanie too.
can I? Okay.
They shared some pictures of the pinpoint weather beast.
Oh, on the chat, they're
Yeah.
sharing pictures of the pimped out
Oh.
weather beast.
Oh,
All
that's
right,
cool.
nice. Very cool.
It is
Now
very.
you
It
guys can
actually
see
is
it.
very cool. It's awesome.
Does it have spinners? Little hubcaps that spin?
They don't do those anymore,
not that
Matt.
Okay.
That was like 15 years ago. I
Really?
think.
No, but it's got lightning and all kinds of stuff on it.
Ooh.
Nice.
All right, let's. So I will. We'll bring it in to Morgan. You ready?
As ready as I'll ever
Are
be.
you ready? Okay,
Yeah.
so here we go. In 3, 2.
Welcome to Kindle. So we're moving on to our favorite segment, Weather Fools, aka the segment of people who don't know how to look at the sky and realize that stuff's going on. So for those of you that don't know, Weather Fools is just that kind of time where we describe foolish things that people do in inclement weather activities. And I believe
Not
Kim
bad.
has a couple. Yeah,
I do.
You haven't. I don't know how much you practiced since the last episode, but that wasn't
I am
bad.
not. I even wrote down a little thing,
That's pretty good.
She had notes.
and I didn't even follow it.
That
But-
was with a cheat sheet. Huh.
Yeah. Ooh.
Good.
Yeah. Whoa.
Ooh, I'm gonna skip over that part on Spotify.
Hey.
All right, Kim. She introduced you.
Okay, here we
That's
go.
your cue.
All right, do you see it?
Yes.
Yep.
Ooh.
Okay. What am I hearing in the background?
Your car? I don't know. I don't hear
I'm
anything.
hearing something. Okay. All right. So I don't know if anybody's aware of this, but the Weather Channel today was hacked. Now let me switch this. Oh, I see what it is, guys. I'm sorry. It's showing CNN is showing an advertisement before
You were
I knew
hearing
it.
a commercial. That's
It
what
was.
you were
That's
hearing.
exactly what I
What's
was
it?
hearing.
Is someone playing
Okay.
a commercial?
I
Hey,
am.
kids, turn that
this is
down.
driving me crazy. Anyway, so here we are at CNN.com, and they're talking about the Weather Channel being knocked off the air by malicious software attack. So I think whoever did this is a weather fool. The Weather Channel actually had to go to weather.com and do their broadcasting from weather.com today while they were investigating what happened here. So that's my first weather fool. Okay, I don't know what the latest is with if they're back on right now, but it's just crazy to think that. I mean, the Weather Channel is so vital to safety, especially this time of the year, that somebody would do something like that is just mind-boggling to me. I don't know what you guys think, but
Is that video still a CNN commercial?
it is still a commercial.
What is it for? Zip
Eventually-
lining?
Are we going to eventually see the video?
There's no video.
Eventually, it'd be dinosaurs on the
What would
dinosaur
you
cam?
watch on the video anyway of a malicious malware attack?
People
Like-
typing.
Yeah,
That's
There
true.
isn't anything because they
Some
knocked it
B-roll.
off the air.
So,
That's
so
true.
CNN
all
says it
static.
started at 6 o'clock in the morning. So they were rerunning things, taped shows until they were able to get people over to the other at weather.com to get people there in their studio to actually broadcast. So you think it can't happen to you? It surely can. That's kind of
6
scary.
a.m.
Yeah, who doesn't
Yeah.
wakes up like, okay, I'm
Yeah.
gonna wake up
It's
early
Russia.
tomorrow. I'm
It's
gonna.
Russia.
That's got to narrow
it's
down
like-
the hackers.
Yeah,
It's got to be like
yeah, it's-
8 p.m. there.
Somebody was colluding. Okay.
Wow.
All right. Now here's the
We just
second
lost
one.
all our Russian viewers.
Yeah, we did.
That's all
But
right.
China's still on.
Okay. All right, guys. All right, Phil. You were talking about all the hail. People were doing crazy things.
Yes.
If you go to this
yes.
website, it's WQAD. This is out of Texas, and they actually are showing some pictures of what people have done to try to protect their cars from the hail damage they were expecting. And you can see this one picture. They must have taken every cushion out of their house.
Look at that.
And
It's right in front of their garage door, too.
It is,
Oh,
exactly.
my God.
And
Use your freaking
strapped it
garage.
all across their car. And there's actually one they put blankets. This one is look at this expensive car. It's like a racing car. And they just put blankets over the top of it. But what's cool about this too, and this one is my
'Cause
favorite.
of course, those won't blow off.
No, exactly. This guy put some beach towels over the windshield and maybe a yoga mat. I can't tell what it is. But actually, the TV station went out and they tested these things. They had a baseball crew come out and throw fast pitches at windshields that actually had these things on it.
God, I
And
hope
if
they
you
got
watch the
permission
video,
first.
They did. They went to like a junkyard. They went
Oh,
to like a
okay.
junkyard.
Okay.
And they had a police officer there who was actually, he was getting how fast the ball was going. So they knew, but they were throwing baseballs at it. And they showed that actually those, the inflatables that you talked about, Phil, actually worked. The
Oh, yeah.
other one did
Well.
not. The yoga mat, the towels and stuff.
How'd that Dollar Tree beach towel do?
Yeah. Didn't do well at
I
all.
don't
I gotta
think so.
do what I can to protect my truck.
And I thought, well, maybe just to protect from the water getting in. I'm not sure what the thinking was, but you know just how people
What?
tape windows. I don't know. But anyway, those are my weather fools, you guys. I'll
Okay.
send it
Good
back to
stuff.
you. Okay, there you go.
Okay, and Phil, you said you got one?
So I got a weather fool, which this was from James Spann's Twitter account. This was a little while back, but what had happened was he this was a tweet. What's the date on this? I'm looking at April 7th, and he said stated last night at Wilsonville, which is I assume is in Alabama. Yep, it's time to go inside, and so it's basically someone that's out on their front porch, and there's a lightning storm going on. And if you watch the video, you'll see a couple lightning flashes, and then it starts a fire. So I'll play that for you again. The challenge that I can't show you or let you listen to is while all this was going on, all of a sudden you hear this little girl start screaming and crying. And I'm thinking, yep, that's what you do during a lightning storm. Let's take my little daughter out. Let's watch this cool lightning storm because I'm sure this will help her not be afraid of lightning anymore. And of course, something strikes like, I would say that's maybe 50 feet to 100 feet from where they are, kind of starts a fire. It's freaking the kid out, which of course it would freak the heck out of me.
Yeah.
So I have no idea why you would do that, but that's my weather fool. That's not going to help your kid get over storms.
Well, and don't stand under trees.
Don't do that either. My guess is I think they were probably on their porch or right outside their house, but there's trees all over the place.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter.
Right.
That's a good
Well,
one.
we got some good fools for you tonight, and you can always catch these fools on our show notes, episode 77 show notes, or you can go at Stormfront Freaks, look at the show notes, or you can go on your favorite podcast app and check those show notes out.
I gotta say, it actually is better than
stormfrontfreaks.com.
Yeah, it actually is better than last week.
What did I say?
Morgan.
Oh,
Yeah,
100%.
that's a lot.
See, this time the intro was bad, but the outro was not too bad. Last time they were both bad.
It's all good.
I think
Hey,
you
I mean,
carried
I
over
gotta-
a little of your southern drawl. There's some
southern
fools
drawl.
for you. There's some fools.
Hey, for y'all.
All right,
you guys should hear me do my grandma voice. Oh,
We're going past that. We're moving on. Maz,
right.
WX Resources. What do you
Time now for everyone's second favorite segment, right,
Yeah.
Morgan?
Well, I think it's going to become number one pretty soon.
It could.
yeah,
it
I'm
could.
just gonna ruin it for y'all.
It's what we call WX Resources. And for the layman, WX stands for weather. Just letting you know. Okay, so weather resources, places you can find new stuff, new technology, whatever, apps, it's all there. And Phil, you've got one. I'm going to have you start this one.
So I've got my WX resource. So some people know I work up at Miami University, Miami of Ohio, and in their athletic department. And we started about a year ago, we started the process of becoming a storm-ready university. And so I was working with the Miami Police Department. And we actually that was just presented to the university that we are now storm ready through the National Weather Service.
Cool.
It's a great program, and I encourage you just search Storm Ready or NWS Storm Ready. Google that, and they've got a whole page on how to do it. And you can be an institution, you can be a city, you can be a county, you can be a business. And all you have to do is just meet certain standards that the National Weather Service has for how you get watches and warnings and that kind of information. And then how do you disseminate that to your populace, whether it's a city, a county, a institution, a business, whatever it might be. It's great. It's a great way to just make sure you're in line with the National Weather Service with how you get the information and how you disseminate it.
And a great university, too. That's a nice campus.
Oh, it's
Up there,
beautiful
too.
campus.
Yep.
Oh my gosh.
It was my son's second choice, just to let you know, out of all the schools.
Yeah.
So
We describe Miami as the preppy
Yeah.
school of Ohio.
I think
You're
Bill
welcome.
Hemmer went
Thanks,
there.
Phil.
Mhm.
You're welcome.
Did
I
you know
just
the
worked there. I
side-
didn't go to school there.
The sidewalks are heated. I'm
You're
serious.
just- They
The
are
sidewalks are
really?
heated. Yeah, they really
No, I
are.
didn't
Actually,
know
that I
that.
didn't
What I
know.
mean.
Yep. So
Is that
when you
Houston Woods up there?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep. State Park. Yep.
Gotcha.
Mhm.
All right. Thank you, Phil. Hey, I've found one and it's really cool. So Jessica.
Congratulations, Matt.
Oh,
Studio
oh.
WX Resource.
Oh, I see how you are. Okay.
Yes.
All right. I got this. So Jessica, you were talking about going to schools, and it's when I was on weather, it was a long time ago. We didn't have any kind of resources at all to use except like a chalkboard, or maybe you took a picture or something, and
Right.
VHS, something
A
like
light
that.
table.
Yeah, thanks. So, so I found a site that there's so many great sites out there, but I'm gonna see if I can share this with you. Okay, that's not gonna work. I gotta go back to Hangouts, hit share screen, and then click on share.
Great
this.
play-by-play.
There you go. Okay,
Good
I
job.
I think out loud. So this is on. It's called SciJinx, SCIJINKS.gov. And there's a whole bunch of stuff on here, but one of the things I found, which I've been playing around with, it's kind of fun. I think it's in the games section. But can you see this? Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So this has a picture. It's called Grow Snow Crystals. So you know in the school books we used to get all of our textbooks and stuff and be like, oh, here's a plate. Oh, here's a whatever crystal. Well, you can actually grow them. So it says to choose a temperature zone inside. So I'll choose this one, and it shows what the crystal would look like at that temperature. And then you say, okay, well, let's move up to here. Then it adds that to it. So you get and you get, okay, I'm going to come back up to here. And now it changes the crystal so they look like that.
Oh,
And I know
yeah.
it's tough to see for people because it's the podcast version, but we'll put this on our show notes. But I mean, you can only do so many. It says, oh, sorry, that's too many layers.
It's like Legos or Tinker Toys or
Yeah.
Lincoln
Magnetic
Logs.
like that.
Yeah, so you could start
Magnetic.
one and come down to the other one down here. I mean, it's got to be an infinite number of possibilities.
Cool.
You say, oh, no, two
That's
snowflakes.
really cool.
Isn't that great?
That is really neat.
So there's a lot of really neat learning things for the kids and actually for meteorologists to take out to schools and
yeah.
show. And that might be one that the school systems might want to use as well. Once you show it to them, they'll think it's yours. And you'll be like, oh, thanks, Jessica. That's the best.
I wish I invented that.
So I know, isn't that cool? So there's a whole
That
bunch
is
of
very
stuff
cool.
on here, and it's multimedia. I clicked on the mystery of tornadoes, and I found this fascinating because as I went to it, hey, look who comes up here, Tim Samaras. So they've got him going through about 3 minutes and 47 seconds of talking about how tornadoes form. There's so many great things on there, you guys. I'm just really excited about that site.
Cool.
That is SCIJINKS.gov, and there's a whole bunch of stuff on the left that you can actually click. All right, so isn't that neat?
Good job,
Yeah,
man.
That is very
Thanks.
cool.
Yeah.
Good
Every once in a
find.
while.
Good find.
I come up with stuff anyway. So you can, if you missed that or you missed the spelling or whatever, you can go to episode 77 show notes on stormfrontfreaks.com or on your podcast app on your phone, and you'll be getting all that information. Right, Phil?
That's right. Sounds good. All right, well done. All right, let's hit our freak fan box, MJ. What do we got in there?
Well, I apparently I missed a few because I took it out, took the box out, I flipped it over and shook it, and a bunch fell out. So we're gonna talk about all those folks. We appreciate you checking it.
It's like our elementary Valentine's Day boxes.
Right,
And people slip in our freak fan box.
Little Billy didn't get one.
Nope.
Yeah.
But Parker Owens checked in a couple of times and said, "Great show tonight. Thanks for another great episode. And knowledge and comedy can't get much better than that if you want to listen to a podcast." We always thank Parker for his generous comments.
Thank you, Parker.
Wait, it's not even
That is
over
nice.
yet. How can he send that?
Well,
Yeah.
You could get real stupid. We don't have to.
Samantha
acknowledge
B. Watson Baker checked in on Facebook. Love. I'm a weather freak myself. Perfect podcast for me. And a perfect
Nice.
podcast for you as well.
Yeah. Yes.
For sure.
I like it.
That means Jessica is now officially a freak. Right?
That is correct. That is correct.
A freak driving out in a pimpin. Yeah.
And
A freak in the beast.
I need another young folk out here.
and
Another Brady.
Oh, Morgan.
Lucas Robert O'Brien checked out too. Outstanding episode. Well done. So thank you, Lucas.
Who is that? Lucas Robert O'Brien?
Lucas Robert O'Brien.
Wow.
Nice.
Yep.
Another
Somebody who wants
cool.
these
Mhm.
affinities.
Yeah.
Another good
Finnegan.
Italian. I like that.
Lucas Robert O'Brien.
So that's our fan box check-ins for this episode. Thanks for doing that. You can check in with us on Twitter. We're at Stormfront Freak. You can check out facebook.com/StormfrontFreaks or do an email at questions@stormfrontfreaks.com.
Awesome. Lots of ways to reach out. I think this just about does it for this episode of Stormfront Freaks podcast. Thanks for listening or watching. Before I reveal our next guest, if you enjoy our show, do us a favor and leave a great review on your podcast app. And don't forget to subscribe to the show by hitting that little podcast app subscribe button on your app. Works just like a magazine or newspaper subscription. It's free, and it assures you get the latest show delivered right to your podcast inbox the moment that gets released, and you get all these great Southern accents from Morgan. I do want to throw out a special shout out and thanks to our guest tonight, Jessica Lebel. Thank you, Jessica.
Thanks, guys.
Great job.
We had a great time with you on. And our next episode in 2 weeks, we're a bi-weekly program. We're going to be recording May 2nd with John Moss of the new Fantasy Weather Battle, which is a fantasy forecasting app that you can win money at. So you guys know fantasy baseball and football and same thing. But it's a forecasting app. You can throw some money down, and if you're one of the better forecasters, you can make money on this. So it'll be out. Yeah, it's kind of cool. So we're gonna have him on talking about that. It's they just released their app recently. So if you'd like to watch the recording live at 9 p.m. Eastern, 8 Central, check out our YouTube channel by searching Stormfront Freaks. So for MJ and Maz, Morgan, Kim, and Jessica, I'm going to go ahead and signal the all clear, and we'll catch you guys next time. Good night, everybody.
Good night, everybody.
Yeah.
Happy Easter.
That's right. Happy Easter.
Cool.
Yeah.
Jessica, thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Thanks,
Thanks for
guys.
your time.
Great
Jessica.
job.
Fun. It was
Thank
great
you.
to meet all of you.
Yeah, great
Wonderful,
job.
wonderful. Good luck with everything, and
Thank
You
you.
know, I
I'll
think
see
you're
you
gonna do
on
fantastic.
TV when I move
There you
out.
go.
Oh, yeah,
Morgan the
why
ropes.
Yeah.
When do you
Show
move
Morgan
out
the
here?
ropes.
In August.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. That's
And
awesome.
your
Well,
free
let me
lift
know if you need
tickets.
anything.
Your free lift
Okay.
tickets from Vail are in the mail, by the way.
Okay. Thank you. I'll be looking out for them.
Let
me know if you know- Let me know if you know anybody in Fort Collins that's looking for a roommate, because
Oh,
that is
okay,
my
yeah,
that's my struggle
Eyes
right
and
now.
ears open. Fair
She'll
enough.
she'll bring it up in the newscast on Saturday. She'll just
Yeah,
say,
yeah.
hey,
By
I know
the way-
someone looking for a roommate.
Wait. We're still live,
Extend our
aren't we?
forecast to
We're still-
August.
yeah, that's right.
We're still live.
I can still
People in
advertise.
Germany. Hey, I'll room with you.
And hey, those of you that have been watching and listening live or whatever, hey, thank you. Appreciate it. Thanks for tuning in as well. But
Okay.
cool. Kim, it was good
All
seeing
right.
you again.